You look like the same person.
I wouldn't agree, but yeah.
Oh, you're full of it. It's uncanny.
You're right. I will let you have it.
All right, yes. What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Perfetto, and today I have another special guest on the show. He's somebody that you may have actually watched a video from, but you just didn't know it. He's been working behind the scenes at ESL doing their Best of One series. And today I'm going to talk to him a little bit about his job at ESL, and then we're also going to dive into what he's been doing behind the scenes with his own personal projects. His name's PANIq, but I'm going to let him tell you what his actual name is because I'm going to butcher it if I try it. So, PANIq, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my real name is Grzegorz Gronek, and I'm not sure how we're gonna repeat that.
I usually just call him Greg. I don't want to insult him by trying to say his real name, his real Polish name. Ladies and gentlemen, we go way back to the 1.6 movie making days. We were in the same scene together. He visited the Style Productions website, engaged with the forum members, and shared his work on our website. So yeah, it's been really fun to watch him grow as an editor and a person, and I'm sure it's been interesting to watch Style Productions from his point of view grow. So, hey, Greg, let's go back in time a little bit. It's 2006, and Authentic Pictures is releasing movies. Why don't you tell me about that time in your life, and why don't you tell me who was involved with Authentic Pictures, because I think a few of you may know his name.
So basically, I started with trying to do stuff with Windows Movie Maker, as pretty much everyone started once in a day.
Yep, Movie Maker and Frat 10 FPS. That was the go-to.
It wasn't even only Counter-Strike, but I just tried some different things, like even GTA stuff.
Okay.
I think that the first big thing I made was Fragtastic already. The very first one, made in 2009, I think. It was the very first of the trilogy, and I think that I remember that you didn't like it.
You know what? I was a self-loathing, angry individual back then, so I probably didn't like a lot of things, including myself. So I would not take that.
So you aren't anymore?
This fucking guy already throwing punches. I love it. All right, it's going to be that kind of interview.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah, so afterwards, I think that Authentic Pictures was already a thing back then. I think that Hightex was the guy that was in, and Destructor.
Hightex and Destructor. Yes, I remember those names all too well.
And I remember sending the beta of Fragtastic 2, almost the whole movie. Then they decided to let me in. So this is where the journey started, I guess.
The journey started with Hightex, Destructor, and Fragtastic 2. Okay.
This is where the
bunch of names that nobody knows today, except for us two.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you define your style back then? Like, what when you were making movies in 2010, what kind of look were you trying to establish when you were making frag movies?
Yeah, I was just trying to make a use of the song as good as possible, while still maintaining a clean vision, so anyone that watches it can enjoy the movie. So I didn't butcher the frags with velocity and so on. It was pretty popular back then to just, speed ramp all the way through the movie. So I just tried to keep away of that.
So you wanted to preserve the integrity of the frags, while making them a little more interesting than just raw clips with sound. I get it.
Exactly.
It was sort of like the anti-movement of where frag movies were going at the time.
Call
of Duty was coming out, and people were just abusing the velocity envelopes with that game. So you were still trying to maintain I don't say the older style of editing. You were trying to maintain sort of like the clarity, I guess, of the frags.
Back in 2009, I think, it was when the single gaming trilogy was being released with the 3D stuff and so on. But I always hated how it looks completely different to the in-game. You could clearly tell when the in-game ended and when the 3D sequences started. So yeah, I didn't really like that and never tried to do that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest flaw with movies is when they take you out of the game's environment too much. I could be guilty of that from time to time, is it taking you out of the moment, out of the game, and making you feel a disconnect. So yeah, that was huge back then. You know, people just wanted to shove in 3D whenever they wanted, and it just felt too jarring. The juxtaposition between 3D and in-game was just, it was too clear. Can you just touch base on one more person that was in Authentic Pictures? I think his name starts with an H. If I'm not mistaken, was it Hoosier? The man, the myth, the legend, the person who can never release a full movie and cancels
Beta man, as we call him.
He's been around for over a decade now, making movies. He just can't seem to bring himself to finish one. Shout out to Hoosier. Love that guy. Such an awesome person. Let's move on from 1.6 and let's skip Source altogether, because I don't think either of us want to talk about that. Let's talk about Global Offensive. And more importantly, let's talk about Fragtastic, the Global Offensive. You released a trailer, I believe in 2014, teasing the world that you were making a community movie in the game CSGO. You made this awesome trailer. It had a lot of good atmosphere. It felt really cinematic. And then it just seemingly dropped off the face of the earth. What happened there, dude? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Life happened, you know. Like I don't really have time to edit it, and I started to focus more on like editing for money. So I didn't really have time to spend on my personal projects.
Do you have any betas to show us at least?
No, I don't think so, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. Well, you know, it's very interesting, that project, because to this day we still don't have any good community movies that get released in CS:GO. That was the thing back in 1.6, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, this is pretty different, like in CS:GO. I mean, the only community movies that I can remember were from the Clayman.
Yeah, we don't get that, and that, like I said, that was the thing back in 1.6. Everybody was making community movies. Like, you never saw a movie about a pro, and if you did, it was once, maybe a year. Mostly everybody was just grabbing frags from the community and just making the most ridiculous movie ever. But you don't get that in CSGO, and I wonder if it's because people want to make movies about pros because that's what sells. That's going to get them the best PR.
I think that this is the main point right now, because it's sad to see, but many video editors come to CSGO with money in their mind, you know. It's like they don't do it for the joy, but they just try to earn money from it, and making community movies will never pay it, I guess.
It pains me to see the business side of it, and I understand that people need to pay the bills and make a living, you know, and what better way to do it than to edit frag movies about a video game. That's a cool thing to say, but at the same time, we lost the spirit of frag movie editing, and that's sort of like, you know, with you making Kirby Overdrive and Style Productions making the Echoes movies and the Memoirs of movies, you know, that's sort of what we try to bring back, is the spirit of movie making without worrying about having, you know, to put food on the table.
Yeah, I mean, I was a victim of that myself. I know, like, when I started editing for money, then I was stuck at this very mediocre level of editing, and it's happened for like 2 or 3 years maybe before I figured out that this is something that I don't want to do anymore, because I couldn't watch my stuff. After years, I finally figured out that I just should focus on something else and just have the frag movies be the side thing to do when I have time for it.
Let's talk about the big hire by ESL. You got picked up by one of the biggest TOs in the scene. How did that happen? Tell me that story.
I was just at the correct place at the correct time, you know. ESL was hiring. So I figured out why I shouldn't try to just get into ESL. Yeah, I sent them my resume, and they called me back, so...
Well, I mean, you have quite the resume. I mean, you like I said, you have over 12 years of editing experience under your belt.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for them not to have considered you. All right, so ESL picked you up, and you started working on these really cool videos called Best of Ones. Why don't you go into that a little bit? I think a lot of people want to hear a little bit more about those projects and what they entailed and what your mindset was creating them.
Yeah, so basically, like a year ago, Frank reached to me asking if we could bring to life a series where we would just focus on one player that is currently somewhat hyped. But basically, it was like my child from the beginning to the end. I have total creative freedom on that. So this is something I really appreciate.
That's really cool that they trusted you and gave you the reins of this project. You know, it's sometimes stifling for somebody to micromanage an editor and a creative person, and the product doesn't really come out as good as it can. In this case, it looked like ESL trusted you and lets you just do what you do best, and the product came out perfect. My question is, because I've been dying to know, will we ever see them again? We haven't seen them in a while. Will they come back?
We are bringing those back pretty soon. And
Oh.
I'm not only going to be editing those, but I will also be supervising another editor that's going to edit the best of ones. So yeah.
Are you
This is
able
pretty
to
big
give
step.
us a hint as to who that other editor is?
We already talked about him today, but yeah, this is everything I can give you.
Oh boy, I think I know who it is. I am excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, so basically I'm gonna do two and he's gonna do two best of ones. So yeah,
Let's
there's gonna be
go.
4 coming up, but I can really tell you when and who's gonna be featured, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it.
Let's move away from ESL a little bit. We've given them enough airtime. They don't sponsor us. Let's talk about your more personal projects, because I happen to have seen a beta in the last couple of months and haven't heard a peep about it since. What's going on with the project you're working on right now, and will we ever see a finished product?
Nah,
No.
no, really, because
No. You canceled
this,
another movie.
I didn't cancel it yet. I still have it on my drive. It's still there. It's still
You're the
untouched.
worst.
I mean, so I can promise you that I will finish it, but I didn't cancel it yet, and it's still there. It's still it's still somewhere there, waiting for its time.
All right, so you're not going to cancel it, but you haven't been working on it, and trust me, I know. I when I get home from work, the last thing I want to do is set up my computer and edit. All right, so before we end this, let's touch base on one last thing that you just actually recently announced on Twitter, called the 3-day challenge. I'm actually very interested to hear a little bit more about that. What is it? What are you doing, and who's involved?
I was scrolling YouTube yesterday and stumbled upon the song from Dope DUD, and I just decided that I want to do something with it because I have some free time right now. And I just wrote on the Discord to a few people if they want to join me in this challenge. And yeah, so we're basically gonna edit a short movie to the same song. We're gonna have the same frogs, and we only have 3 days for it. And this is it. I think that it's gonna maybe happen even more often because I think that it's a good idea to like just edit something together and like boost our creative thinking. Because nowadays, it's only like work all the time. So editing something that isn't work related and just for fun is pretty good.
Yeah, that ties into what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, having to edit a minute and a half movie in 3 days is giving me anxiety just thinking about it. So I give you guys all the respect in the world for it.
I'm pretty much used to editing on short notice, and this is something that is my biggest strength right now, I guess. I figured out that I can deliver a very good level of quality on very short time. So this is something that is very desirable right now.
Well, I for one, can't wait to see what you guys push out. It's going to be fun to see a bunch of editors in the scene all work together to create some awesome content that we have yet to see. So this is going to be great for the community. This is going to be great for the audience, and hopefully it leads to bigger and better things in the future. Can't wait. Maybe we'll see a massive collaboration of editors on a massive project later in 2022. One last question before we go, and I ask everybody this. In the next 5 years, Greg, where do you see yourself? What does 2025 look like to you?
I would probably like to go away a bit from esports, maybe.
Oh.
But like still keep in touch with it. I just don't want to focus on esports only. I guess my dream job would be being a creative director. I guess maybe something along those lines.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I think I can definitely see that.
I guess it's something doable, and I just gotta pursue that path, and it might work out, I guess.
Maybe we'll see Mr. PANIq as the ESL creative director in 2025. That should be a sight to behold for sure. All right, Greg, I'm gonna let you go. This has been an awesome interview. I can't wait to see what comes from all of these things that we talked about today. Greg, do you have any last things that you want to say to the audience before we sign off?
Yeah, so next year I'll probably gonna release some behind the scenes. Like, let's take the hero pieces I made this year, and I will try to break those down so you can see the process of making those. Because it's not only like the in-game stuff, but all of those talent footage and the B-rolls. It's not always that easy to just put it together in a proper way. So I hope that this is something that may be exciting for the audience, I guess. And I'm planning to do this for most of the stuff that I will release this year. So yeah, I guess this is something to look out for.
I mean, I don't know why you're questioning if it would be exciting for the audience. I think it sounds great. I, for one, can't wait to watch it. It's sort of like a deep dive into the mind of PANIq. You know, we get to see how you put together a scene from the ground up. I think that's for a lot of editors that would actually be very interesting and very cool to watch. All right, Greg. I'm going to let you go. This has been an awesome interview, like I said earlier, and it's going to be a great 2022. I have a feeling it's going to be cool to see a new PANIq, a new rejuvenated PANIq. He's going to be 2022 is going to be the year of PANIq. I have a feeling, boys and girls. Can't wait. All right, y'all. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. You know what to do. Like buttons here and the subscribe buttons here, and do all those cool things. Tell me what you want to see next. Who do you want to see next? Does your favorite movie maker make it onto the show yet? If not, tell me down below in the comments, and I'll have him or her on. All right, until next time, take care.